Hey there, Coach Can of the Superbike-Coach Corporation with day 8, part 8 of the V4R conversion to a track bike. So you guys might remember I had a little stop because a piece was wrong. I went cheap on eBay with this piece here. Supposed to be a piece from CNC, which is Italy, Italy stuff, and supposed to fit, but it doesn't. And it also doesn't fit on the axle itself with these things here. So yeah, it seems I made a mistake, so I had to buy that. So, oh, it's actually lighter than this. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense because it's smaller. It's got more hole. Wow, look how much smaller this is. That's actually cool. And fits. There you go. I guess it will also fit then on there. So that is very cool. And these guys send it out. I ordered it Friday, actually Friday evening, and now it's here already. That's cool. So I can finish all of this up. Can get the bike back on its paddock stand, and then working, finalizing the rear sets, where there's some stuff to do as well. But that is very cool. Now I'm getting a lot of stuff done. I will give all of these bolts the required torque specs and all that. There's a lot to replace into aluminum and a lot of weight to drop. We're talking about 3, maybe even 3.5 pounds on rotational masses there. That's a lot of stuff. Very cool. I'm excited, and I'll show you in between. This here is the biggest weight drop here. This is a full steel blade, and this is aluminum. I mean, this is more than half the weight. Yeah, maybe about half the weight, and then including this here, which is probably way lighter than this because it's way smaller, and it's got way more holes in there. It's gonna be awesome. So, does it hold longer, a steel blade? Yes, it does, and that's what it's on for. It's got to hold. It will hold for like what, 3 chains kind of thing, 3 chain lives kind of thing. That's fair enough to go to Starbucks, but nah, that's not us. We're going light, and that means a sprocket like that is through in 1 to 2 years. I would say 2 chains. Yeah, but since I'm going to the track and setting it up from track to track, so also these here will be changed to different sizes, so the wear literally spreads on 3 to 4 blades, and not like on a single one. All the load is on a single one, so you actually don't feel it that much this way. It's different. So that is very cool. Okay, I will explain then later what and how and why we're changing the ratio, the sprocket ratio. So hold on. Okay, I just want to drop a word towards these drive cushions, or whatever. The thing with this is that race bikes don't have them at all. They like competition bike, they are just bolt on to the flange. So you need to know that the more cushion you have, the more power you lose, especially in regard throttle opening. There is a delay. The bigger the rubber is, the more the sprocket moves into rubber. Yes, it protects all the hardware, but race bikes don't need that. So there's more direct throttle response, no delay, literally. The more cushion you have, the more delay there is, and the more power gets lost on the first part of acceleration. So Ducati knows that, and they're using very, very small cushion drives. When you open up a Yamaha or a Honda or whatever, you see these huge rubber mounds, huge rubber cushions, which causes all that. That is not needed here. So once I'm wearing these out, I will replace those in titanium, and those coming even with harder cushions than these are. Okay, so just that, so you know. Now I'm giving them a little bit of grease because this here is all steel and it likes to rust quickly, I guess. So I give them a little grease, but they're supposed to not moving there. Maybe they do a little, but yeah, not much. However, I'm almost there. All right, there it is. So, A, it looks fucking awesome, doesn't it? And B, the weight drop is significant. I mean, we're really talking about 3 pounds of difference. This is all steel, including these bolts. This is all steel. This is all aluminum. Yes, it wears out faster, but who cares on the track? That is what you're buying yourself into. Now, I want to talk about the ratio, the sprocket ratio, gearing, if you like. It's about gearing. Now, there's always that question, why would you do that? La la la. For many, many reasons. You have no idea what you've been missing on. All it takes is a little trust, okay? So, stock bikes, street bikes are designed to go fast, really fast. Like this bike can go, 310, 320 kilometers an hour. What's that? About 200 miles, 195 miles and whatnot. Who the fuck needs that? Especially in the US, where you go to jail beyond 100 miles an hour. Nobody needs that. This is designed to make bikes look good and get sold, okay? The higher the numbers, the faster the bikes are, the more likely they get sold. We're talking about sport bikes. So, this is one thing. On the track, you don't need to see 320 kilometers an hour, maybe just for a fraction of time. How fast you get there, that is the main reason. Means, on the track, it's all about acceleration. And the shorter the ratio is, the faster the acceleration. The longer the ratio is, the more top speed you have. In other words, you're setting up the ratio, rear sprocket and front sprocket, the way it fits to the track. Yeah. So, a rule of thumb is, you take the longest straight on the track, and then ideally you see 6th gear, and before, like half a second before you brake, before your braking marker, it revs out. So this way, you max out your sprocket ratio in regard acceleration. And that can be different from track to track. For example, Laguna Seca, short straight, versus Button Willow, for example. Thunderhill East, where you come on the straight, on the longer straight, on a fast turn, and go on a long straight towards a fast first turn. So that demands a longer ratio than Laguna Seca, for example. So from track to track, you set it up this way. Ideally, before on the longest straight, you rev out in 6th gear. That's how you do this, pretty much. That can vary. I mean, let's say, on bikes like this compared to competition bikes, especially prototypes, where you have access to the transmission, and we could set up every single gear to make it work for every section on a track. Let's say you're running into a section and you in a specific area of the section, you don't have the torque, the needed torque to exit the section well. That way, then today it's all with the computers. Then the engineer knows, hey, we got to drop or raise the ratio of that specific gear to make that work for the racer, for the rider. So you don't have that amenity in bikes like that. Sure, you can, but this is killing it, right? So here you could go longer or shorter with the ratio, with the final ratio, means sprockets. Maybe you don't see then full revs in 6 gear, but if it works on a specific area on a track, great. So this is how you're setting this all up. So this has a big reason, and it changed the whole character of the bike. The whole torque explosion throughout the RPM band gets tighter, gets bigger. You're bringing gears more together. Means you have more gear choice on turns, actually. For example, this bike has an extremely long first gear. Who the fuck needs that? You know, yes, it's usable for tight turns. For example, the 1199R had a lot of torque. I could run on Thunderhill West on turn 7, which is a tight left-hander hairpin, on second or even third gear, depending on the gear ratio and the sprocket ratio. On this one, I'll make it in first because it has no power to exit well up the hill for 8. So all of this brings that more tighter together, and I eventually, very likely, run next time in second gear throughout this turn. Yeah. So it's got a good reason. So if you have a street bike, okay, and the bike is kind of lame from low end up to into mid RPMs, etc., then this is the way to go. You can change that very quickly by dropping the front sprocket by 1 tooth. That is equal with 2.5 teeth on the rear. But the front is way easier to change, way quicker to change, and it's way cheaper. It's done for $40. Yeah. Seriously, there is no cheaper way to power up acceleration. We're doing wheelies, how to learn how to wheelies. We recommend in our wheelie courses every time to change sprocket ratio, throw a bigger one on the rear, drop it down by 1 in the front or even more, and the bike comes up on its own. Seriously. It overcomes weight way easier. Or even if you get the bike up in first gear, but I have a hard time in second gear, so you start learning in first gear, power wheelies, and then you're running quick, and once you get it up, but you will run quickly out of RPMs, out of power. The second gear would give you way more range, would buy you more time. So changing the sprocket ratio, make it way shorter, you will get it up in second gear way easier, but you don't run out of RPM that quick. Things like that. So, yes. I know all about the discussions on those motorcycle forums. Why would you do that? La la la. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's the most cheapest power upgrade you can ever have. System. And once you're on it, you also can swap to make a conversion to 520 chain, 520 sprockets, etc. That's what I did here. Yeah, I mean, this bike already came with 520, So that was not necessary to do, but you can easily get down to a 520 chain on a liter. They holding up. We do this in racing all the time. Yeah. So don't worry about that so much. The next swap, when your chain is done to be ready to be swapped, so your sprockets need to go too, because they're fucked up as well, very likely, and that is a great time to go 520 chains. They're cheaper as well, by the way. So I hope that clears it up. I hope that makes sense. Maybe you roll back the video and listen to it again, but if you still don't trust it, but give it a shot. You will be very surprised. Doesn't it look awesome? Man, I can't wait to ride it. Alright folks, so rear sets are back on. It looks much better now, right? It looks more like a motorcycle now. I'm looking into different rear sets here because they are actually really short, and I struggle with my boots here. I'm getting stuck here somehow, so giving them a little bit more space would very likely help. So bolts are changed into titanium and aluminum. This one will be gone soon. This was an ugly industrial looking steel bolt that will be changed into titanium. There is one here. I'll leave this in because there's a lot of strength going on and a lot of motions per lap. So this is all tight. The cables are in the right places. Sensors are back on, and I will take care of this here in a minute. And this is how the other side looks like. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I will stick to the original rear sets. Because they are nice and black, and I didn't find. Well, I found a company who makes actually rear sets who are exactly mounted to this part here, the way these are. At that point, and then I made the research, and they are in the exact same place like these. So at this point, I gotta ask myself, why would I spend $700, $800 for rear sets, right? So I actually like the way they look. They are simple, and they're all what they need to do. Use your feet out on it. Sure, I would like to have some adjustable ones, but once they are adjusted, this is like in your electronic seats in the car. Once they're in the right place, you won't touch the electronics anymore, you know? So I tried just to get used to it. If it gets really bad, I feel like the ergonomics don't fit at all, then I might change my mind. But for now, it is what it is. I actually don't mind. They actually don't look bad. So what else? Now I'm putting on, there are aluminum, or is it even steel, heel guards here. I'm replacing those in carbon. Hopefully they have the right color and so on, but I think they do. So that's going on next, and I'll show you. So I believe I made some mistakes here trying to undo this. What I did here was I mean, the search for weight drop is not always good, right? So what I reconsider doing is to put aluminum bolts into this place. This part here, just like on the other side, is actually a carrying bracket for the swing arm here. Okay, everything is hooked up to the engine on these bikes. The Panigale is there. That design is to have the engine as a carrying part of the whole construction. So this here I believe, is a support bracket for the swing arm, which is actually only mounted on this part here to the engine. So, and that swing arm, there's a lot of motion, a lot of twisting, bending in there. I believe these 3 bolts here, 1, 2, 3, just like on the other side. Either way, having these in titanium, which would do the job, but those aluminum bolts, even though it's M8, I think they won't. You know, so I will change them to the original bolts again and make that unhappen. Another thing is, all right, things are fixed now. I exchanged back to steel bolts. These 2 and this one here. That's a pinch bolt. I described it. I believe this is a supporting bracket from engine to swing arm right there, and that needs to be a strong triangle there because there's a lot of motion going on. So I also was able to tie these guys up here, all those nuts here up to up to 40 Newton meters, and then I safety wired them, and it looks nice. So this is all back tight, this is all good. Same on the other side. Replace those 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so next step will be I actually mounted these already here. This is carbon, and what I figured here is that for my taste they are peeking out a little bit too much here, so I try to get them out, massage them to yeah, having a little bit more inside angle. Same time, I figured that there is a manufacturer sign here, what's that called? Tag here, which I try to get off. If not, I gotta make it black because it's just, you're literally looking at it. I mean, who the hell does that? Come on. So once this is done, I go take care of the side stand here and see what can be done here and why I'm still having it on. All right, here's a little update. What I did is actually a lot here. So I took these off again, and then I kind of filed them down so that they are more straight, in a straight line with the bike, with the swing arm still not in the way here, so there's space enough. And I also, you guys remember, there were blue tags there inside the heel guards, so I just took a Sharpie and made them black. What else can I do? You can't pull them off, so I just blacked them out so they don't peek in the eye right away. So now I installed, I think as I mentioned that in the very beginning, that when I was in Laguna, I figured that my rear sets here, that's the original, are a little too short. So I installed something I found actually super cheap on eBay, but very actually made with quality. That this is fully CNC machine, so aluminum, and it's actually fitting super good, super well, and then they are a little longer. What I'm worried about is that they are not grippy enough, so especially here on the edge. I'll see. I'll take these here to my next gig, and it's an easy and quick swap actually. So it's a little painful with that spring, but it's working well. They are a little longer, and what I like with them, it's black. Now it's all blacked out here, and it looks great. So same on the other side, right there. Also this one prepared, a little modified to fold more in. And here later on, the exhaust is coming through here anyway. I'll need that space. Very likely. So also this is installed. Looks good, huh? Yeah. There you go. What else have I done? I worked on the side stand. Here's a thing. I try to install I installed a carbon side stand, which is totally closed here. It will nicely close with the fairing later on, and added titanium bolts and nuts and all that. So there was a lot of prep necessary to do that. Right now, the sensor is not recognizing it. There's a magnet in there. It should actually work. I don't know why. So I try to figure this out. And that's it for now, pretty much. Now I'm almost ready to put that rear wheel in, take the bike off the stand, off the lift, and then tying all the axle nuts and the sprocket bolt on to the recommended specs. So that's coming next. Pretty successful day so far. So I showed you guys already how I installed the rear sets, which are pretty cool. They are now the wheel back on. Yeah, I know I have chicken strips there. Yeah, I know. I had this bike out first time in Laguna in the total stock trim. I don't know this bike well, and I distrust street tires, as good as they might be. I can't ride on street tires anymore. All right, so calm down. So I brought these big nuts, the axle nuts, to torque spec. I still got to put the clips in, the security clips. I forgot on this one. Now I got to take the bike off again. So I'll do that later. I did all this, and now I got the front end up in the air, taking this out and see what can be done over there. Yeah, that's how she looks like right now. And yeah, when I had it off, when I just had it off the lift and to tie up all these nuts, I was sitting on it, and that it was a delight. It was I felt the lightness. The bike became way lighter. Sure, there's no fairings on right now, but hey, I felt that, and especially the balance point. You can feel that right away. The seat is way better here. This is a Ducati racing seat. This is way stiffer here. You don't sink in like in a goddamn sofa, and the shape is way different. So the bike got higher in the rear. So the rear height got taller. I feel this, and that you also feel this on this tipping point there. It's this is hard to explain. And then also the handlebars in terms of ankle, and so in this ankle here towards me, more towards me. I didn't change the height. This is just fine, and I am way too limited with the fairing cutouts here, so that this is just not going anywhere. But changing the short lever to the brake side where it belongs and the long one to the clutch side where it belongs makes the bike, all this makes the bike already feels home. No shit. I just can't wait to have it done and ride it. Alright, so safety wires, I put them on. I think I said that already. Now I gotta do a safety wire here, right and left for balance. This is torqued up and I'm ready to go. Damn, let's start working on the front end. Alright, front wheel is out, front fender is off. Figured there are a few things I can do. There are those clamp bolts down here, which can replace to aluminum. That's probably M8, there you go. And I need some grease too. So they can go out, and then so that's 4. That's not a problem. I'm doing this since years, and we had that on the competition bikes back then as well. That's not a problem at all. They don't have a lot of force. They don't have a lot to hold. They just clamp the axle in its place, and they don't get a lot of torque. So that's possible. These will be replaced. Front fender bolts here, the 4 going into aluminum. We're going to clean this all up. This has been done in another episode already, so you might want to look this up. You want to roll back time there. And then yeah, I'm going to clean this area, all the area up, and then see what else we can do. And then the front wheel gets all these bolts are replaced to titanium. This is all cleaned up then later on. And then later on, once the slick race tire is coming on, I am using, yes, I know this is maybe not for everyone, I'm using tire beats instead of weights. Yeah. Not so much because of the weight drop there, maybe a little, but getting rid of those weights is my main reason there. Just fucking up the rims all the time, and they look just bad with these. And those beads are easy to add, especially since I'm changing my own tires with my Rabaconda tire changer, and I actually don't have a balancer. Yeah, so I'll show you that when time comes. Let's do it. All right, folks, so the titanium bolts are in, both sides, of course. Want to discuss the importance of their torque specs. This is very important because they need to be evenly tied up, just like a cylinder head. You go in cross patterns, one after another. You creeping up on the recommended torque. In this case, I have 30 Newton meters to do. So I went, hand tied, and then crosswise. You go cross pattern, tighter and tighter and tighter, and then you use the torque wrench and go up to 30 in this case. So the importance here is that the rotor is evenly on the wheel. Okay, if you have, let's say, let's say extremely way off with the Newton meters, or even not even using a torque wrench, and you just tie them up as I used to do myself, but the thing is that if the brake rotor is not evenly on, and once it's getting hot, there's a lot of bend to it. You have even no idea. And when you are, if you are a really slow guy and you're never really heating up those brakes, is not even a problem, but in this case it is, and it can become one, and that turns out to be wrapped up rotors, bent rotors. You maybe get even a wobble in there while you feel a wobble in there while you brake, and feel things like that. So it can get bad. Not saying this can lead to an accident, I'm not saying that, but you won't get the performance of the brake it can have. That's pretty much the point. Yeah, so there's not much more we can do on this wheel. I cleaned it all up. It looks nice and clean. The outside rim, yeah. But that's ready to go back in. And now I'm cleaning the axle, give it some grease and all that, and see if it freely runs without the brake calipers installed. That's crucial, and then you can feel already if there are restrictions, etc., or not, and or if your bearings are bad. This is a great time to check on the bearings, actually. Yeah. So we put it on the axle. We're tying it all up without the calipers installed, and then spin it. All right. A little report in between. The wheel is back in. I decided to put the carbon front fender back in until the painted one comes in. I used to have, since years, even in racing, I loved the carbon front fender, but now it's time to do something else. So I'm gonna get a painted one, which hopefully looks badass. And yeah, this is how it looks like right now. The brake I installed, all the torque specs, the safety wire is on, and all that. Same with my sprocket here. This is evenly safety wired. And I also installed these babies here. That's on the right and left. And what this is for, I'll show you in a second. So that's where we're at right now. So yeah, what can I say? I'm waiting for this for a long time. From the very beginning, it was part of the idea. Have these covers on. This looks just fucking MotoGP right there. So, I think I mentioned it. I used to have even 2 air ducts to cool the brakes. One was up here, one was down here. But I wanted to change, so this is why I installed these babies here, cooling the pads and the pistons, as well as this one here, because this will lead a lot of air, a lot of fresh air towards the brake caliper and the brake rotors. So it also should function like a diffuser, just like in MotoGP. This is a aerodynamic gimmick where you the more you lean, the more the bike leans. So the more this is to the ground, and that acts then like a diffuser, just like in a car. This is why the MotoGP has them on. They can adjust that. They can move this back and forth, and also in and out. So I won't have that. I look into what can be done. I think they might actually just work with spacers here, with angled spacers to move this in and out, kind of thing. So depending on the conditions, etc., they set this up. There's a lot to it actually. So it's of course on the other side as well, and that's how it looks like from further away. This looks so goddamn MotoGP. I love it, man. Isn't it beautiful? All right. So the last thing I'll be doing for today is the openings in what? This is you might remember this from one of the first episodes. This is a fake headlight, as I have a fake rear light, so there's nothing in there. That means these holes here, where usually the bulbs are sitting, would be open like that. I don't like that. That looks unfinished. So what I do is I bought some tank foam on eBay. That's for a few bucks. Cut it out, cut it in shape, and then put this in and glue it in. Kind of like that. I did that already here. The other side is done. I'll show you in a second. And with a little glue outside, it should stick in place. If not, I have plenty. This is good stuff actually. I used this on a Yamaha R1 replica, M1 replica already for some fairing, filling some fairing spots there. This is actually tank foam for race bikes. So there are, I don't know if this is actually required now, but they have to fill the tanks with that kind of stuff to prevent explosions, I believe, but I'm not sure about that. And it also helps with it's reducing the swapping in the tank. So yeah, that's actually super light stuff, and it's easy to modify to prepare. So let's get it out, get it glued in, and then I'll show you the end result. All right, this is how it looks like now. Yeah, I think it looks better than just having open holes there and spiders finding a new home, huh? Cool. Hope you guys like it.